Hey, Joe, you should see my new home theater system.
Oh, really? How many people does it seat? 20, 30?
Well, no.
Oh. Well, what about the screen? How big is it?
35 inches.
Oh.
What?
Ah, 35. It's huge.
Well, okay, and I also have a remote that controls both the TV and the VCR.
What about the lights?
What about the lights?
Does it operate the lights?
Well, no, Joe, it doesn't operate the lights.
Get a load of this.
What is the ultimate home theater? That's what we're going to find out. Hi, I'm Marty, and in the next few minutes, we're going to show you one of the best home theaters that money can buy. And along the way, we're going to pass on some ideas that quite possibly might inspire you to create your own ultimate home theater. The entryway to this home theater is just off the pool, next to the bar. Some familiar faces keep you company while you're waiting, evoking the spirit of classic Hollywood.
There was a couple ways we could have gone. We could have gone into the more modern or the more classical look. The family, especially with the decor of the house, this we thought would fit better.
And Vintage Hollywood is a mainstay of the design principles of Theo Kalamarakis, one of the world's foremost home theater designers.
The essence of the movie theater is not necessarily the historical period that the theater comes from, but that excitement of a space that's designed to make you want to see the movie. A space that has a wonderful proscenium, a beautiful ceiling design, walls that are designed so that they can lead your attention into the screen, and of course, hiding behind this architectural facade are the important ingredients that guarantee the reproduction of the sound and the picture at the best possible level. This is a theater that features a THX sound system. The speakers are hiding inside the columns. We created specific columns that can accommodate THX speakers. The room had strange acoustics because of the shape, but we compensated it by creating heavy acoustical insulation behind the decorative fabric that you see on the arches that makes sure that the sound is reproduced properly.
Now, what makes this home theater so unique, besides the fact that most commercial theaters aren't this opulent, is the fact that all of its systems are controlled by a single remote control.
We can play VHS, local television, DVD, Laserdisc, or satellite.
Rob Idle, who put together and installed the electronics package, walked us through the amazingly simple centralized control.
It makes it so that anybody can use this theater. As complicated and high-tech as this theater is, it is a user-friendly theater. Let's change some lights.
Okay,
we'll start with that. So we'll hit the light button, and that gives me 4 different banks of lights to choose from. We can start with stage lights. Right now the stage lights are on, so let's bring them down. Well, let's do the cove lights. And that will
right.
kind of give you from a cloudy day to a sunshiny day.
We use lights to manipulate the emotions and, more importantly, to enhance the architecture. Like in a movie set, you try to point light sources to everything that you work hard to create as an architectural element so that details start jumping out of the shadows defined by light.
Okay, let's return and we'll get into a different page. We can start out by opening the curtains and get us to a 4.3 aspect ratio. Wow, so okay. That is basically television, anything that is on a normal broadcast. Right. If we were to pop in a DVD or a Laserdisc, if it's 16:9 aspect ratio instead of a 4.3, we can change that masking.
Now, is it pretty easy to control your DSS system with this?
Yes, it is, Marty. It makes it very easy. Let's go to that screen and we can take a look at it. This spells out the basics. So it gives you a menu button, a guide button, or you can go directly into your channel, and then you've got your up, down, left, and right cursors.
What do you say we find out how DSS looks on screen?
Sounds good. Let's do it. Let's choose channel 999.
Okay, sounds good to me.
And we'll hit the select button, and then there we've got our program.
If you're new to U.S. satellite broadcasting, welcome. We hope you're enjoying
Makes it real simple.
our top package.
So this is the hardware that the remote control leads to, huh, Rob?
Yes, it is.
Now, obviously, this is the high end of the home theater system. Now, do you work as well with the average homeowner?
Yes, actually we do. The average homeowner would have a 50-inch rear projection TV, a surround sound decoder, and 5 speakers, and just about anybody can afford it these days.
Movies today are watched either in a media room, in a home situation, or in an actual home theater. In the media room, it's a family room with some furniture and a big stereo system. You watch movies with a big screen and a big sound, but you don't get the same kind of ambience that you get in a dedicated space. Our theaters tend to be centering around the presentation.
So Raj, do you use this a lot in here?
Absolutely, we've been watching movies forever, and we try to watch a movie, every week. And it's a lot better than going out in theater every week, sitting in your own home and doing it. You feel like you're in the local theater.
Well, it's terrific, and I want to thank you so much for letting us come in today.
No problem.
And,
Thank you so much.
Take a look around. And
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Now, a setup like this isn't for everyone, but the point here is to find the perfect viewing environment for you. Keep watching Channel 999. In coming weeks, we're going to show you more of the world's best home theaters. I'm Marty, and thanks for joining us.
We'll be right back.
What is the ultimate home theater? That's what we're going to find out. Hi, I'm Marty, and in the next few minutes, we're going to show you one of the best home theaters that money can buy. And along the way, we're going to pass on some ideas that quite possibly might inspire you to create your own ultimate home theater. Seeing something like this may make you forget you're in someone's home, but don't get confused. Just off to the right is the Ultimate Home Theater in the basement of a house in Los Angeles owned by Jeannie Bloom. Jeannie, this place is beautiful. What made you decide to get a home theater?
Actually, I was looking in Architectural Digest one day, and I was looking through, and I saw this most gorgeous theater. It was the Uptown Theater, actually, and it was so unusual. I'm from Chicago, and we had an Uptown Theater there, and it reminded me of when I was a little girl. You don't see that too much anymore.
To create the same magic in her own house, Jeannie called the designer of the Uptown Theater, Theo Kalamarakis.
For me, a movie theater is not just a room, just a single room. Even if the space is not big or large, we just always try to introduce spaces before you enter the movie theater, so you get a sense of transition from what the real house is to the theater.
Well, I see here you have your own concession stand.
Of course, I love to eat. All my friends love to eat, and we have our popcorn machine, our hot dogs, Vienna, Polish, any Chicago hot dogs, my favorite.
The reason for the concession stand is to create that sense of environment rather than just a room where you go in to watch movies.
Popcorn kind of makes you feel you're in a real movie theater, which it is a real movie theater.
The theater itself is an homage to the movie palaces of vintage Hollywood.
There's only 2 rows of seats, but it's a very small space. Our emphasis, no matter how small the space is, to reduce the proportion so you get a sense of a movie theater without feeling that you're confined in a room that's 10 by 14. And by manipulating the perspective, in this particular case, by bringing a series of columns and a series of arches in between them, you get a sense that actually the room is bigger than it is, and you transform what is actually a little box into something that's more alive, more interesting, more exciting. It's the existence of that magic wall that separates the reality, which is in front of the curtain, with the fantasies that's behind the curtain. Once this wall parts, we're free to enter that kind of magic world and just be ready to succumb to the power of the movie.
The theater is kind of where everybody relates to. There's not one person that does not get excited about a movie theater. I think part of what's so great is the ambiance and just the whole feel of a theater. You know, you come in here and whenever you have a party, everybody draws to the theater. It's where they want to be and they want to see movies.
What home theaters do for us right now is bring in that drama, that romance of the old movie palaces into our own living room, in our own basement, where, you know, by introducing some of the architectural elements that made these theaters look so incredible, we capture some of the lost arts.
It makes you feel like you're a little kid again. It's exciting. I really love it.
Now, a setup like this isn't for everyone, but the point here is to find the perfect viewing environment for you. Keep watching Channel 999. In coming weeks, we're going to show you more of the world's best home theaters. I'm Marty, and thanks for joining us. What is the ultimate home theater? That's what we're going to find out. Hi, I'm Marty, and in the next few minutes, we're going to show you one of the best home theaters that money can buy. And along the way, we're going to pass on some ideas that quite possibly might inspire you to create your own ultimate home theater. The Uptown Theater and the house that holds it are owned by Larry Kay of Los Angeles. As you can see by the surroundings, Mr. Kay is no stranger in the world of movies. How did you choose the decor for the stairwell here, Mr. Kay?
Well, we just wanted to make it Hollywood and taking in some of the famous stars in the Hollywood from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s. And you see some of the famous people like Bogey and Ingrid Bergman and Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. We named the theater after the theater that my wife went to in Chicago.
Wow. And where did you get these fabulous doors?
Well, these are from a bank building in Boston. And when the bank went out of business, we were lucky to find these doors, and I think it's a great match for this theater.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Marty, you ready to go in and take a look at it?
Let's go.
Okay. Marty, let's get our tickets to the movie.
Look at her.
And by the way, the lady that did this is one of the world's famous doll makers. In fact, some of the famous stars like Demi Moore has bought her work in the last couple of years. This whole lobby really makes it an Art Deco-ish type of a look, and that's what we were after when we built this theater. These 4 panels in the ceiling are 4 of the original panels of the lobby of the Pantages Theater when it was built, and this French Art Deco chandelier blends very well. We have a full-fledged soda fountain here. We can make any kind of a soda you want. We think it's spectacular.
Well, should we head in?
Yeah, let's give our tickets to the Moose Usher, and then we'll go in.
Let's go.
Let's watch a movie. Well, Marty, here's the theater.
Wow, this is beautiful. Now, I understand that your theater's built directly on top of a garage.
Yeah, the garage and the theater are the same size. It's 400 square feet. And if this thing ever falls down, we're going to land on top of a couple of cars. That's it.
The theater itself is an homage to the movie palaces of Vintage Hollywood. And Vintage Hollywood is a mainstay in the design principles of Theo Kalamarakis, one of the world's foremost home theater designers.
For me, a movie theater is not just a room. When you are in one of our theaters, you feel like you've left the world behind and you're ready to succumb to the magic of what's on the screen. The room design really happens in the ceiling. This is a theater where your attention is intentionally focused on the proscenium and the ceiling. I want the walls to almost disappear, so when you come in, you just look up.
The ceiling, which is fiber optic and it's a night scene, was from a theater that I went to when I was a youngster. And I always loved that ceiling. It was always spectacular. I always said to myself, if one day I can build a theater, I want that as my sky in the theater.
The direction from Larry was anything you can think of from the Pantages, we want to have it in this theater. He and his wife met for the first time in the Pantages, I think. So the theater had a very warm spot in their hearts. So what I did is I went and I photographed the 2 figures that stand like guards outside the Pantages marquee, these 2 big female figures. And we reproduced them at the Warner Brothers studio in smaller scale. And we made them the focal point of the proscenium, left and right of the stage. The marquee was my biggest challenge, to make it, to scale it down within the 13 feet high that we had and get that kind of adrenaline-inducing excitement that you have when you go to a real movie theater marquee. And of all the marquees we've designed, this is by far my favorite. It took a while to build, it took a while to design, but it's really, it's the perfect announcement of what's lying inside.
I love Art Deco, and I love the old type of movie houses that they used to have. You go into a theater today with 18 theaters or 30 theaters, there's nothing to it except the screen and a bunch of chairs. To me, the enjoyment is also the decorations and how the theaters used to look. They were magnificent to walk into. And so I wanted to create something like that. Life to me is just enjoying the other people's enjoyment. And I get a lot of pleasure giving people enjoyment. And maybe I haven't grown up yet. Maybe I'm still a kid, but that's thing what I like to do.
Now, a setup like this isn't for everyone, but the point here is to find the perfect viewing environment for you. Keep watching Channel 999. In coming weeks, we're going to show you more of the world's best home theaters. I'm Marty, and thanks for joining us.